And our final program for today is the ozone depleting chemical elimination of the U.S. Department of Defense. And here to present the program is Don Hunt, Chief Scientist, and I can't translate the initials, so you can do them for us, but it's the Newark Air Force Base. And then Robert Campbell, project engineer, who also has 8 capital letters after his name, from the Newark Air Force Base. Welcome.
That means I'm the cute one.
I would like to make one minor correction. Our ozone depleting chemical elimination effort is for the Air Force Base, not for the Department of Defense. It's within the Department of Defense, but it's isolated to our center.
Certainly stand corrected. It is a federal program.
It is a federal program.
Thank you.
The Aerospace Guidance and Metrology Center, as was mentioned, is located in Newark Air Force Base in Ohio. The purpose of the center is to perform complex repair on sophisticated inertial systems that are used on aircraft, ballistic missiles, and other Department of Defense equipment. The tight tolerances of these devices require that during reassembly and during repair and reassembly that we precision clean or clean extensively the equipment. This type of cleaning, precision cleaning, has been done for years throughout industry by using what are now known as ozone depleting chemical solvents. The center was one of the world's largest users of these solvents. In the early 1980s, we were using over 2 million pounds a year of CFC 113 in our operations. The Montreal Protocol Treaty was signed with one of the requirements being to require the halting of all production of ozone depleting chemicals. And this was done on behalf of protecting the ozone layer of the Earth. The concern about the environment, coupled with our concern about the ability to continue to support the Air Force mission without these ODCs, provided a strong motivation at the center to find alternatives. In September of 1990, the US EPA sponsored our center to deliver a paper at an international conference in Singapore. And in that paper, we announced our formal policy for eliminating ozone depleting chemicals. This was one of the very first announcements of this type within the Department of Defense. With very few adjustments to that policy, we have achieved all of the goals that we set, and we did them ahead of schedule. For example, we stopped all purchases of ozone depleting chemicals in 1994. That was 1 year ahead of the goal we had set for ourselves. When we started our program, we had over 1,100 processes that depended on ODC solvents. We now have less than 35, and those will be totally eliminated by the end of this year. Based upon what we currently would have to pay for ozone depleting chemicals if we were to purchase them, the entire investment in our program has a payback of less than 2 years. One of the novel approaches we selected early in the program was the use of aqueous processes to clean complex electromechanical parts. There was a lot of controversy in the inertial community over the use of water and detergent for this purpose. There was concern there would be corrosion, that we would decrease the quality and reliability of the products. One of the first challenges that we had was making aqueous processes work. There wasn't any information available for the use of water and detergent for precision cleaning at that time. So we did a lot of trial and error testing at the center. We found many problems early in the program, and each one of these problems had to be resolved. This required the development and application of a lot of new, creative, and innovative techniques. Once we knew how to do it, we had to prove that we knew how to do it, and then we had to implement the processes in the production areas. The innovative solutions that we used for these two challenges accounted for the speed with which we were able to implement the changes and reach our goals. To do this, we used such things as integrated process teams for the development of the processes. We formed a top-level management steering group that directed center resources for ozone depleting program actions. We put an ozone stamp into being, which allowed us to put top priority on paperwork from the program. We used a center in the Defense Construction and Supply Center in Columbus, Ohio, a program that they had to enable us to get into laboratories around the state of Ohio on a 1 day's notice for technical analysis. And we negotiated written agreements with our clients that enabled us to speed the process of actually making conversions for processes in our factory floor. We had many benefits result for our clients from our program. Some of these were expected, like the Air Force mission was continued to be supported. We also implemented environmentally friendly processes for those that weren't. Some of the unexpected benefits were also of extreme value. For example, the quality and reliability of our product actually improved. We did the processes in less time than we used to, and we lowered the repair cost. Much of what we've done is replicable. In fact, it has been replicated, both in the government and in the private sector. We put a lot of effort into this at our center, international in scope, to make this or to encourage this to happen. Even though the center has become an international success story in ozone depleting chemical elimination, it still has some challenges to face. Our center is closing because of the BRAC process as a military base, and we are going to be a demonstration site, in essence, for a concept called privatization in place. And because of that privatization in place, we're going to have to be very, very careful in transitioning our new, not too mature processes to that new contractor to assure that he understands and accepts them as cleaning techniques and that he will then make them his cleaning techniques of choice.
Thank you. Our time is up. We're now ready for questions. Richard?
You said the process had been replicated in the private industry and elsewhere, is that
Yes, sir.
correct? Can you tell me how that was done? Did the replication come directly from your program, or was the process taking place somewhere else at the time you were doing it?
Yes, sir. That's an involved question because we've been working at this for several years, and as you probably gathered from our literature that we provided, we've published something in excess of 20 papers around the world on this topic over the last few years from 9 different authors within the center. And we've presented these papers at conferences, and we're contacted by people at conferences who have problems who would like to come and look at our facilities. 2 of the companies in particular, one was Moog Industries that make parts for spacecraft, and another company was PCC Airfoil that make the fins that go into jet engine blades that are used by GE engines out of a company in Cincinnati. Both of those companies brought parts to our facility and sent engineers with those parts to have us demonstrate the cleaning ability of our processes on their parts. And because of the demonstrated ability that we showed them of our ability to do this, they went back to their facilities and implemented our processes. Now, the thing that's important to remember is that the implementation of the process of the replication doesn't mean they have an exact look-alike to our system. It means that the techniques that we used in applying aqueous processes for a cleaning mechanism for precision cleaning could be applied to their product line. It looks different. It is perhaps different, but one of the main things is that we demonstrated it could work.
Tom?
Do you do the guidance packages for the Navy as well?
We do some, yes, sir.
My understanding of nuclear weapons is that these are the family jewels of both the Air Force and the Navy. Could you just elaborate on some of the cultural opposition you had to changing the method of cleaning?
When we got started in the...
Could you use the microphone, please?
Sorry.
The cute one does family jewels.
Yeah, he does. I like that.
I wouldn't touch that, but go right ahead.
Thanks. One of the original oppositions was, as you said, dealing with the management of a system program office for an intercontinental ballistic missile. We're sitting here telling this group of bureaucrats that we're going to wash their stuff in soap and water. Well, obviously they had a fit. So we ended up having to write a long test plan, which incorporated the building of 10 of these units and installing them in active Minuteman III missiles. And then after a period of time, we would take these units out and then we'd do a post-mortem analysis on them, which meant we had to do some of the latest technologies on chemical analysis, the electron beam technology, and all types of analysis. And we did this with the formation of teams that we created with Draper Laboratories and TRW, all types of scientists and engineers. And we have published since this 4 major reports on these analyses, and all the analyses have concluded that we detected no types of corrosive species, no chemical anomalies whatsoever, no problems that could be detected under any of the technologies that we employed, that the aqueous processes presented a problem in degradation. Now some of our critics have become our advocates because of this documentation. And I think that's another reason why people are starting to look more highly at aqueous processes in critical cleaning processes.
Do they still take some of the Minutemen out and test them at Edwards? Have you had any of the guidance packages tested?
We continuously test the processes all the time. Right now we have about 132 active gyroscopes, one particular type, the first one we started on, called a north-seeking integrating gyroscope.
Mm-hmm.
We have over 100 of those in active Minuteman 3s now. Anytime one of those units fails, we do an enormous analysis on the time it was out and what may have caused the problem, and then try to determine through a post-mortem analysis process what causes that problem.
They're not live fired. I think that was
No,
the question.
They're not live fired. So it's fair to say then, if you can maintain the integrity of a guidance package, the accelerometers, clean them, that clearly has transference into private sector. I mean, there's nothing as
Enormous.